Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And my voice is a bit croaky. I've had a really busy day. I should say yesterday now, because I've been with my best asexual friend Sammy. They now prefer to be called Sammy rather than Sam, so hence why I've changed the way I speak about them. And as you can hear, my voice is a bit croaky. I've had an amazing day. We went to Wetherspoons, we had food, had drinks, and then non-alcoholic drinks, and then we went to a cafe. I had red berry tea. Sam had nice cheesy chips and macaroni cheese. And because their meal was late, the cafe gave us free drinks, one free drink each. So I had a whole pot of red berry tea again for free, which was really good. So it wasn't just a cup, it was a pot, which makes about 3 cups. And then we went to Nando's, got more food. Sammy ate in the cafe with where I had red berry tea, and then I mostly ate in Nando's. I just had a dessert. So that was interesting. And then we went to see the Batman movie. So Sammy's in my city for 3 days, which is really nice. We're going to the zoo later today. I'm only going to get a few hours sleep before we have to go off again. So yeah, the Batman movie. What do I think? As always, if you don't like spoilers, please do not watch this video, because I am going to spoil it. So I don't really know where to start with the Batman movie. There is no direct sex in it, but it is very sexual in parts. So basically, when the Batman starts, this was a film that I wasn't quite expecting. It was different to the others, but it was very, very dark and brooding. If you ever studied the genre film noir, then you kind of know that a film noir is very, very dark, very, very brooding. You have a lot of dark shots in it, a lot of dark cinematography and stuff like that. So the way this movie was done was very, very stylistic. They paid a lot of attention to the color in this movie. I even saw one shot was nearly black and white, and then it switched to color again. So they gave a lot of emphasis to different colors. So when the movie first starts, it's very dark, it's very brooding, it's very violent as well, especially very, very violent. Like this Batman in the beginning is kind of, he's in a mission to be revengeful, and he just wants to go around beating people up, killing people, getting justice as he sees it. And it's just like, it's very, very, very graphic violence. And I personally felt it was too much violence for me. I don't like all the smacking, the punching and everything like that. It's just too much for me. It was a certificate 15. I usually watch certificate 12s quite a lot. So yeah, it was too much violence for me. It's very, very dark, very, very gritty. In some ways, you could argue it's better in that way because it's more realistic. But in other ways, it was just too dark in places. I felt it was purposely putting it on some of the time, And so that was weird. So I have to say, this is not my favourite Batman movie at all. In fact, I was a bit disappointed. I wasn't really feeling it, I love the special effects, the ones that were coming later especially. I thought they were really good. There's one part later on where the Gotham floods, and that's good. So there's some good fight scenes as well, good scenes in the Batmobile, and things like that. So I liked all that. And there is a love story going through it. So if you are a romantic person, you'll probably like that as well. But, I was a bit disappointed. So in this Batman, basically, it's a guy who's one of the main characters out of Twilight. One of those actors that plays in this movie. I didn't even figure that out till partway through because I hadn't read the write-ups. And so anyway, to cut a very long story short, in this Batman, he's really dark, brooding. He goes around beating people up. He's out for revenge. He doesn't really care who about hurting people. He's just like out to get revenge, basically. And then along comes this storyline where there's the Riddler comes into it. There's a Riddler, which is good. They collude the Riddler, the Penguin's in this. They got the Joker sort of in this as well. They got Gordon. who's on Batman's side. So, Gordon's like a police officer, and throughout this movie, Batman and him are teaming up quite a lot, which was a little bit unusual. It's not unusual in the sense they do have a very good relationship in other films, but it really felt like they were buddying up. They were really part of a team in this one more than anything. And so, yeah, basically the Riddler starts trying to kill these people off in the actual police force, and the Riddler keeps leaving notes for Batman and riddles to solve, and like symbols and stuff to work out. And basically it's like a hunt for find all these clues, and about 3 people get killed from the profession, the police profession, and this one woman gets killed. And so he basically has to decipher clues all along, and I just felt it wasn't really going very, very much anywhere. I was disappointed. I wouldn't say it's a great film to watch, if I'm honest. I much prefer the others. I think the guy who plays Batman is good as Batman, but he's very different. Like, when he's not as Batman, he's got great big black rings under his eyes. He's basically not getting any sleep. He looks rough a lot of the time, really badly rough. His hair is kind of all rough, and so that's kind of a really weird look for Batman. And he's very skinny, so it's really weird how skinny he is. He's not this guy who's really musty or anything like that, so they have made him different. I'm not sure if I like that or not. In some ways, I don't picture Batman to being a really skinny guy. I think it's good that it's possible to have a skinny guy, but then you're thinking, how realistic is it that you would be doing all this fighting and smashing up if he is so skinny and got no muscles on him? It doesn't add up, there's something not quite right about that. And he literally looks like, he just gets no sleep, and he just looks drained of energy. He doesn't look like the Batman as we know him. He looks like he's down and out, and but he's not physically. He's physically fit, but I guess mentally and emotionally he's just wiped out. And so, yeah, he has to solve these riddles, and he has to try and solve them to stop people getting killed. He doesn't do a great job of that, I have to say. And eventually you find out that a whole trail of all these people dying leads back to him, and it's to do with his father. And his father promised something to do with an orphanage, and it didn't happen. So Bruce Wayne's father promised something, and it didn't happen. And Bruce Wayne's dad, Batman's dad, was basically an orphan himself, and the media publicity was on him being an orphan rather than the orphanage people themselves getting the money that they needed, because it was kind of like a show for the TV, as far as I could work out. I still wasn't quite sure on the whole storyline. It was a bit weird. But basically, yeah, so the clues led back to his dad, and his dad had a guy killed because he had to cover up something to do with Batman's wife. No, Batman's mother. So, not wife. His wife, Bruce Wayne's dad's wife. He wanted to protect his wife, and so he basically got this guy to, sort him out. But instead of just like warning him off and threatening him, he actually killed him. And then he covered it up. So basically Batman's dad's gone down in his estimation. So yeah, but it was a bit weird that it all led to Batman. You kind of got a feeling that it was going to lead back to Batman anyway. So, I just didn't really gel with the film. Sammy didn't like the movie. They fell asleep in it. They thought it was boring and it wasn't good like the others. It was disappointing. So I'm not going to recommend watching it, really. I think if it comes on TV, or if it's £1 or £2, yeah, it's worth watching. But, really, you're not missing much, I don't think. But it's very dark, very brooding, very gritty, very violent. And you just, got to decipher clues, which leads back to Batman. So it's kind of I don't know if it's a bit of a lame storyline in some ways. It's a bit obvious and boring, but yeah, anyway. I know I haven't done a very long review because I haven't got much to say about the movie, really. Apart from the special effects were good. Anyway, I hope you like this movie review. I hope you enjoy it. Give it a thumbs up if you've got any insights into it, any value, you know. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. Lots of love. Bye.